Hello everyone, my name is Lily and this is my very first SpeedPaint ever. I hope you guys enjoy it. I wanted to start a YouTube channel and start uploading YouTube videos, basically just documenting my process and talking a little bit about what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and all that good stuff. I've seen a lot of artists that I like do it, and a couple of my friends also do it who are artists, and I just thought it would be fun. And it would also give like a physical document on kind of my process, what I'm thinking at the time, so I can myself can go back and rewatch everything and kind of see where I'm at when I'm at where I'm at. If that made sense. Okay. I wanted to talk, I guess first off, a little bit about what I'm doing. First of all, I lost the footage, or rather I didn't record the footage, of me sketching and doing the initial line work. So this is just me cleaning it up and making sure that it looks crisp and clean like I wanted it to. I also kind of have a bad habit of overdrawing lines. As you can see, I'm going through the edges and cleaning it up. I think it makes them look more elegant when the lines are longer like that, but for this piece I really wanted it to look, I guess, proper. And I don't normally have to go through and clean the lines up this much, but because this is not something I normally would draw, because I'm trying to branch out, and it's got a lot of layers, and it's got a lot of small details, I really wanted to make sure that they came across cleanly and clearly, so I really spent a lot of time making sure the line work looked the way I thought it should look. Which is, again, nice and crisp and clean. And this drawing was actually based off of a person I know in real life. Her name is Bianca. I really like her aesthetic, and her Instagram photos are always really nice, and I was inspired by her and the things that she posts. So I asked her if she could let me use her likeness for this, even though you don't really see a lot of her face, and she said yes. So I have drawn her in the past, and she's very fun to draw. She's got a very unique look, so I really appreciate her letting me use her as my muse, basically. But back to the plants and stuff, is I really had a set aesthetic in mind while I was drawing this. I really wanted it to look like, again, crisp and clean and very simple, kind of minimalistic. I really like the way that style looks, and I wanted to emulate that. And she kind of has that kind of style as well, so. Now, here I'm just outlining the glasses. I forgot to initially sketch them in, so that's just adding those in really quick. And what am I doing now? Yes, okay, so you see me pull up the other image, which I had screenshotted to send to her, to get my palette back. So that's what I'm using in the other tab over there, is I just have the screenshot of the one I had lost. Which thankfully I screenshotted it because I really like the palette for it. But now you actually get into the fun, exciting part where I'm coloring, blocking in the colors, and cleaning it up and trying to figure out where all these little leaves are going and hiding. I really wanted to use a lot of different shades of green, but not very, very green. I think I used a lot of blue greens and yellow greens, but not really true greens. I think it looks nicer and it contrasts better with the other plants in the picture. And right here I'm just going through and cleaning up, making sure there's no missing gaps, making sure that I got everything that it was supposed to be that color, and filling in the ends, you know, making sure that there's no white spots, like I said. There's really not a lot to this process. It's really just making sure that, you know, everything's where it's supposed to be, everything looks how it's supposed to. And I had already figured the color palette out. See, I'm flipping back and forth through the color palette. I had already figured the color palette out, and I knew what I wanted to look, where I wanted to look. So there's really not a whole lot to explain. I did pick a color palette from the internet that had the colors that I wanted, the muted greens and the yellow greens and the blue greens. And I think you could see me pull it up a couple of times really fast. I also did intentionally make the back leaves lighter than the foreground leaves. I like the look of, or the concept of, the further things away from you are, the lighter they get. And that's a mistake that I know I've made in the past, where I'll make it darker. But if you look at literally anything in real life, you'll notice that the further away something is, the lighter it is. So I wanted to play with that a little bit, not really hard, but enough to where maybe you could kind of get the feel that those leaves are further back than the ones in the front. And they're also lighter. Now, something I did do at this point was, when I was filling in the light leaves in the background, I accidentally mass filled around the line art. So now every part of the lines have this green halo, this light green halo. So I had to go around and erase all of that and touch it back up with the proper color. So that's what I'm doing here. And also, of course, filling in the gaps and referencing the other photo. Or not photo, but drawing, you know what I mean. Just filling in. I really loved the color palette for this, and I don't work with greens a lot, like at all, because I really don't like green as a color. At least not whenever I see green in drawings, it's usually really bright. But I am a huge fan of these muted greens, especially against that peachy kind of terracotta color that I used for the sweater and the pots. And even her skin tone, I used more of a peachy color. At first I wanted the pots to be different colors, but I thought that it took away from the initial drawing, so I ended up making them all the same because I really wanted the focus to be on the plants and not necessarily the pots. And having them different colors put too much attention on them, I thought. And now I'm just adding small details into that specific plant, which it's based off of, correct me if I'm wrong, a snake tongue or something like that. I forget what they're called, but they're loosely based off of that. None of these plants I think actually exist. I just kind of put shapes together that I thought were interesting. Yes, okay, so here I'm doing a lasso gradient shade technique. I actually learned it from an artist called BARTEL. She's amazing. You should definitely go check her out. I'll link her below. But she uses this technique, at least the one I saw she used it on hair. So I wanted to do that because it gives it a really soft feel. And I'm just doing, I always have in mind where my lighting and shadows are going to be, where my source light is, so I knew that I wanted it coming from the top there. I'm just filling in the shadows with a light gradient, very soft. And now I'm looking around, I don't know what that was. I think here I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to do this extra bit of shading or if I liked the way it looked the way it was. I did decide to go through and just add a little bit of shadows just to make it look a little bit more pop a little bit more, I think is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going through now and adding that last little touch of the shadows, and I always shade with a really dark color and then lower the opacity and play around with it to see what I think looks the nicest and most uniform. And with this one I shaded with, all around everything I shaded with was a dark blue-green color to really tie everything in. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. That's my drawing. I hope to do more like this in the future, and I hope that you guys can stick around and enjoy the videos I make in the future. I'm going to try to do one every time I do a drawing. Currently no set schedule, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.